Heartland Season 19, Episode 7 picks up right where the tension left us. But this time, the pressure on Amy becomes almost unbearable. She has always been the person who keeps the ranch together, the person who stays strong, the person who fixes what's broken. But in this episode, we finally see the weight of everything she's carrying, and trust me, it's a lot more than anyone around her realizes. After the emotional whirlwind of Episode 6, Amy enters Episode 7 trying to be rational, trying to stay calm, but inside, she is spiraling. The situation with Nathan's sister isn't just confusing anymore, it's personal, and she knows it. Amy understands that this woman has no boundaries and no shame, and the more she thinks about it, the more she realizes that the danger isn't just about sponsorships or business. It's about how far this woman is willing to go to get what she wants, and how much she is willing to destroy in the process. Amy has seen manipulative people before, but this one stands out because she doesn't attack directly. She attacks in quiet, calculated moves that slowly tighten around the people Amy loves. What makes Episode 7 so gripping is the way Amy's world begins to shift without her even noticing it at first. She tries to focus on her work, tries to help a new client, tries to stay grounded, but her thoughts keep drifting back to Nathan. She can feel him pulling away, not because he wants to, but because he doesn't know how to handle the storm coming from his sister. And this terrifies Amy more than she wants to admit. She knows what distance looks like. She knows what emotional silence feels like. And she knows that once someone starts shutting down, it becomes nearly impossible to bring them back. She tries to convince herself that things will be fine, that Nathan is just stressed. But deep down, she senses that something inside him is shifting too, and not in a good way. At the same time, Amy faces a moment that completely catches her off guard. When she helps Nathan's old friend prepare for his wedding by working through his anxiety with horses, she finds herself thrown into memories she hasn't visited in years. The smell of flowers, the sound of wedding music in the distance, the nervous excitement, everything reminds her of her own wedding day with Ty. Those memories rush in like a wave, knocking her off balance. And for the first time in a long time, Amy asks herself a question she was afraid to even consider. Will she ever experience that kind of happiness again? Not the forced smile kind, not the "I'm fine" kind, but the true, complete, heart-bursting happiness she had with Ty. And in that moment, she realizes something even more shocking. She wants that again. She wants a future. She wants a partner, and she wants that partner to be Nathan. It's a huge emotional shift, and honestly, it hits harder than expected because she wasn't planning to feel this way. Not this soon, not after everything she has been through. But love doesn't wait for the right time. It shows up unannounced and demands answers. Meanwhile, Nathan is drowning in his own battle. His sister confronts him in Episode 7, and her manipulative tactics reach a whole new level. She knows exactly which buttons to push, exactly which fears Nathan tries to hide, and she uses all of them against him. The ranch, the money, their father's legacy. She throws everything in his face and twists it until Nathan feels like the villain in his own story. She tells him that Amy is a distraction, that he is losing focus, that their ranch will collapse if he keeps following his heart instead of common sense. And the worst part is, Nathan starts to believe her. That tiny seed of doubt begins to grow, and suddenly he is questioning every choice he has made in the past few months. His love for Amy, which used to feel so strong and clear, suddenly feels fragile under the weight of responsibility. And for the first time, he wonders if choosing Amy means losing everything else. This emotional tug-of-war makes Nathan colder, distant, and unpredictable in Episode 7. He doesn't mean to hurt Amy, but he doesn't know how to deal with this internal war either. And as he pulls away, Amy senses the shift immediately. The look in his eyes, the hesitation in his voice, the silent pauses. It all reminds her of the kind of heartbreak she promised herself she would never experience again. Yet here she is, watching the man she finally allowed herself to love drift away without even realizing it. Episode 7 takes a darker, heavier turn as the cracks in everyone's relationships begin to widen, especially between Amy and Nathan. The distance that started forming in the previous episode becomes almost impossible to ignore here, and Amy finds herself walking on emotional eggshells, unsure whether she should confront him or give him space. What makes this so heartbreaking is that Amy has just realized what she truly wants. She wants a future with Nathan. She wants stability. She wants to open her heart again. But the moment she reaches this realization, Nathan begins to slip away without even understanding the damage he's causing. Amy tries to be patient because she knows he's overwhelmed, but the silence between them grows louder, filling every conversation with questions neither of them are brave enough to ask. Nathan's side of the story is just as painful. He isn't pulling away because he wants to. He is pulling away because he feels cornered by the pressure coming from his sister. Episode 7 does a great job showing Nathan's breaking point as he tries to balance his loyalty to his family with the love he has developed for Amy. Nathan's father's legacy sits on his shoulders like a weight that he can't shake off. Every time he starts to think about his future with Amy, he hears his sister's voice reminding him of everything that could go wrong if he lets himself get distracted. And the most tragic part is that Nathan genuinely believes he is doing the right thing by stepping back. He thinks he is protecting the ranch. He thinks he is protecting their family name. He thinks he is being responsible. But in reality, he is unknowingly choosing slow emotional destruction, both for himself and for Amy. At the same time, Amy begins to notice something unsettling about Nathan's sister. It's not just that this woman doesn't like her. It's not just jealousy or competition. It's something deeper and more calculated. Every move she makes seems carefully planned, as if she is trying to dismantle Amy's life piece by piece without ever looking like the villain. Amy starts to pick up on the little things. Snide comments made behind her back, strange looks exchanged with others, subtle attempts to turn people against her. She realizes that this woman sees Amy as a threat, not only to Nathan, but also to her own personal influence and control over the ranch. And episode 7 makes it clear that this woman will stop at nothing to keep Nathan under her thumb. The idea that Nathan might choose his sister's opinion over Amy's truth forces Amy into a new emotional territory she didn't expect to revisit: fear of abandonment. But while all this heavy drama is unfolding, another storyline begins to take shape, one that brings a spark of hope and future potential. Dex, the new ranch hand who has been lost, confused, and searching for a purpose, hits a turning point in episode 7. After getting kicked out by Jack for his reckless behavior, Dex is forced to confront a harsh reality he has been avoiding for a long time. His life is not going anywhere. His big dreams, his impulsive choices, his endless chase for excitement, they're all empty without real direction. Episode 7 shows Dex realizing that being an adult means making decisions that are uncomfortable, decisions that require sacrifice, decisions that require actual responsibility. And for the first time, he looks at the ranch not as a temporary job, but as a potential future. But even then, Dex doesn't quite know how to take the first step back to Jack. He needs support, someone who believes in him, someone who can see past his mistakes. And that person ends up being Katie. Their dynamic in episode 7 deepens in a way that feels natural and exciting. Katie sees Dex differently now, not just as the wild kid who acts before thinking, but as someone trying to find his place, someone with a good heart hiding behind his impulsive choices. When Katie steps in to help Dex regain Jack's trust, the chemistry between them becomes impossible to ignore. There's a spark there, something gentle and new, something that reminds us of how love begins quietly in Heartland before growing into something powerful. Katie believes Dex deserves another chance, and Dex, for the first time, starts believing in himself because she believes in him. This storyline becomes a beautiful parallel to Amy and Nathan's complicated situation. While one couple begins drifting apart, another begins leaning closer. As Amy watches the people around her fight their own battles, she starts to feel truly isolated. Episode 7 captures this perfectly. Her emotional world feels louder and heavier because she can't talk to Nathan the way she wants to. Every time she tries, something interrupts them. A phone call, an argument with his sister, another crisis at the ranch. And with each missed moment, their relationship becomes more fragile. Amy knows something is wrong. She can feel it in the way Nathan avoids eye contact, in the way he hesitates before answering questions, in the way he seems to be somewhere else, even when he's standing right next to her. But what hurts her the most is the fear that Nathan doesn't even realize what he's doing, that he doesn't realize how close he is to losing her without even noticing the shift. Episode 7 creates this slow emotional burn that builds tension without giving clear answers, leaving both the characters and the audience desperate to know what happens next. Because the truth is, Amy is ready for love again. But now the question becomes, is Nathan strong enough to fight for her? Or will his sister's manipulation cost him the best thing he has ever had? Episode 7 continues to tighten the emotional pressure on everyone at Heartland. But what happens next pushes Amy to a level of inner conflict we haven't seen from her in a long time. As Nathan becomes more distant, Amy tries to distract herself through her work, but even that starts becoming complicated. The horses can feel her tension, the clients can sense something is off, and even Jack notices she isn't her usual self. Amy doesn't break down, because that's not who she is, but the audience can see the unspoken struggle building with every scene. She tries to convince herself that Nathan just needs time to figure things out, but a small voice in her head keeps reminding her that she has been here before. She has lived through love slipping away, and she isn't prepared to experience that pain again. Episode 7 begins, making Amy question whether opening her heart was a mistake, and this internal conflict becomes the emotional backbone of the entire episode. What makes everything worse is that Nathan's sister senses Amy's vulnerability and takes full advantage of it. Episode 7 gives us a much clearer view of just how dangerous this woman is, not physically, but emotionally. She knows exactly how to manipulate Nathan, and she uses that power to gradually isolate him from Amy. Moments that should belong to Amy and Nathan suddenly get interrupted by problems that magically only she can solve. She exaggerates issues, twists minor mistakes into major crises, and constantly reminds Nathan of how much he owes her. It's subtle, almost silent manipulation, but Amy can feel it tightening like a rope around their relationship. She sees every warning sign but feels powerless to stop it, because if she pushes too hard, Nathan might believe she's the problem. This is exactly what his sister wants. Amy doubting herself, and Nathan doubting Amy. At the same time, Nathan's internal struggle reaches a point where he can no longer hide it. Even when he tries to pretend everything is fine, his emotions spill through the cracks. He finds himself staring at the ranch with fear instead of pride, wondering how much longer he can keep everything from falling apart. His sister constantly bombards him with reminders of financial pressure, responsibilities, the ranch's future, and the legacy their father left behind. It becomes impossible for Nathan to separate his own desires from the needs of the ranch. The love he feels for Amy becomes overshadowed by the fear that choosing her means abandoning everything he has worked for. Episode 7 places Nathan in one of the most emotionally complex positions we've ever seen in the show, caught between the life he wants and the life he feels forced to protect. And the heartbreaking truth is that he genuinely believes he's doing the responsible thing by stepping back from Amy, even if it slowly destroys both of them. Meanwhile, Dex's storyline continues to rise as one of the brightest parts of Episode 7. While the older characters struggle with love, responsibility, and emotional maturity, Dex and Katie bring a refreshing spark of youth and hope. Dex finally approaches Jack again, but this time without excuses or jokes. He admits he made a mistake, admits he acted recklessly, and admits he didn't understand the value of the opportunity he was given at Heartland. This moment shows real growth in him, something Jack didn't expect to see so soon. But even then, Dex is unsure of how to rebuild trust, which is where Katie steps in. She doesn't push him or judge him, she simply helps him find the right words, the right approach, the right direction. And this support creates a quiet but powerful bond between them. Katie begins seeing Dex as someone who is capable of becoming more than just a troublemaker. She sees the potential in him, the same way Amy once saw the potential in Ty. There's a familiarity in the way Dex looks at the ranch, as if he's seeing a possible future he never imagined before. And because Katie is the one guiding him through this change, their connection deepens in a way that feels natural and meaningful. Episode 7 gives us small but powerful moments that clearly show these two moving closer, even if they don't fully realize it yet. The way Katie smiles at him when he decides to try again, the way Dex listens to her more carefully than he listens to anyone else, the way they both feel a sense of loneliness in each other without ever saying it. It's the beginning of something that could shape the future of the entire show. While Dex begins to rebuild himself, Amy reaches a breaking point of her own. Episode 7 brings her face to face with the reality that love does not always mean stability. Amy has always been the strong one, the steady one, the one who keeps moving forward even when life throws the hardest challenges at her. But this time feels different. This time, she has something to lose. The pain she feels isn't just fear, it's disappointment, exhaustion, and the heartbreaking realization that she can't control other people's choices, even when those choices hurt her. She begins to question whether she has been too trusting, whether she allowed herself to fall too fast, whether she misread Nathan entirely. But the most powerful moment comes when Amy realizes that she cannot fix Nathan's problems for him. She cannot protect him from his sister. She cannot make decisions for him, and she cannot force him to choose her. Amy stands at the edge of an emotional cliff, knowing that whatever Nathan decides next will determine not only the future of their relationship, but the direction of her own healing journey. She begins to understand that loving someone isn't enough if they aren't willing to fight for you too. Episode 7 uses this emotional turning point to build immense suspense. The audience can feel that something major is about to happen, something that will either break Amy and Nathan apart or finally force them to confront the truth they've been avoiding. Episode 7 pushes the tension to a place where every character begins to feel the pressure in ways they can no longer hide, and the emotional fallout becomes impossible to escape. Amy tries to move through her day as if everything is normal, but nothing feels normal anymore. She feels the distance between her and Nathan growing with every hour, and even though she keeps telling herself that it's just stress, that he just needs time, she knows deep down that something has shifted permanently. What hurts the most is that she doesn't understand what she did wrong. Amy has been patient, honest, supportive, and open, yet all she gets in return is silence, hesitation, and a man who seems to be slipping through her fingers without even realizing it. Heartland has always shown Amy as strong, but Episode 7 reminds us that even the strongest people can feel lost when love becomes uncertain. The emotional weight becomes heavier when Lou finally notices that something is off. Lou has always been protective of Amy, sometimes overly so, but this time her instincts are spot on. She senses that Nathan's sister is playing a game, and she senses that Amy is afraid to speak up because she doesn't want to cause more problems. Lou tries to reassure her, tries to remind her that she deserves love that is steady and clear, not love that confuses and breaks her. But Amy struggles to accept this because deep down, she still believes in Nathan. She believes that the man she connected with is still there, trapped underneath all the pressure and manipulation. And this hope, as painful as it is, keeps her from letting go. Meanwhile, Nathan faces a moment in Episode 7 that shakes him in a way he didn't expect. After another heated conversation with his sister, where she once again insists Amy is ruining everything, Nathan finally snaps, not in anger, but in exhaustion. He begins questioning whether he even wants to live a life that is constantly measured by responsibility and fear. For years, he has been controlled by expectations. What he should do, how he should act, how he should manage the ranch. But now he starts to wonder what he wants, not what everyone else wants from him. This realization doesn't fix anything, but it creates a small crack in his sister's control. It's the first sign that Nathan might be waking up from the emotional fog she has trapped him in. But even then, he doesn't immediately run to Amy. He retreats further into himself, trying to understand how he reached this point and how he let things get so twisted.